90210 is airing season 2, episode 14, The Next 50 Years. On Scott's 16th birthday, his mother gives Donna and David the responsibility of rounding up people for his birthday party to save it from being a social disaster.
Yeah. Can I ask you, what did this woman play a mother on also? She was a mother on something else. Was it King of Queens?
Don't believe it was in King of Queens, but she was a character actress. She would appear on like some shows that we would watch in the 90s.
She's always an overbearing mother. And in this, she doesn't fail, Steve.
She looks the part. She has the overbearing mother discernment to her look.
This woman hung out with Sonia. For sure. I've met this woman, Steve. It's a lot of high tension in this episode.
This is the first episode I remember watching from this show, man, because it was paired up on that Thursday night slot with Simpsons. Simpsons was the lead in, I believe. I don't remember. It might have been Drexel's Class while it was still on air, and then you go into 90210. So Thursday nights, Fox, man, I was pretty faithful.
Damn, you stood tough on the damn 90210.
Let's try it out. Let's check it out. I've been hearing about this show. It's hot. It's season 2. It's got kids in it. I like Saved by the Bell. Maybe it's like that, but like serious. Like this is I'm stepping into adulthood as an 8-year-old, Matt.
Also, it's got some hotties with bodies, Steve. So I do understand it from like a young man's perspective. In that, I get that.
Which one's Lisa? Which one's the Kelly?
Who's Andrea? Yeah. That's Miss Bliss. Anywho, we're just joking here, folks. But yeah, dude, this episode, Steve, I believe we don't know if it's officially banned, but you can't watch it on the shits.
Yeah, I wouldn't say banned. It doesn't specify. I'm sure if I look up on Google or Reddit, there's an answer.
I gotta say, dude, I was conflicted on this. I at first I was like, oh wow, this is crazy. Like this kid, I thought something else was gonna happen, but then once it happened, I completely flipped. My internal monologue flipped quite a bit.
Man, and we start this off with David. He's recording the choir, the school choir. They're singing, and he's introducing whoever's going to watch this to the different players in the school. There's Brendan and the usual suspects: Steve, Donna, and Kelly.
They're the coolest. And then as he's doing this urban cowboy looking dude comes up behind him, is like, hey, what's up? And he looks behind him, is like, hey, what's up, Scott? I'm trying to fucking do some work here. And Scott's just he's a lingerer, Steve.
Man, it was really cool doing that man on the street thing with you. Yeah, man, I'm kind of busy right now, Scott. Is Scotty like the funky name of the 90s? Because Scotty was also in Boogie Nights. Why'd you do that, Scotty?
He's always that, dude. He's the wannabe. I'm so stupid.
Scotty Pippen, he was always relegated to being the Robin. Oh, why'd you shoot that shot? Oh, I just want you to like me, Mike.
Yeah, Scott's he's just kind of a weird, and he's walking around Beverly Hills with a fucking cowboy hat on. So I don't know what you want, Scott, but maybe just take that off.
Yeah, let's start there.
But he does have a weird look. It's very like
goofy,
Cabbage Patchy. I don't know. Something's off in the mix, but we find out, because even David's like, come on, dude, like. I got fucking Kelly here. I got Steve. Steve's 40. I can't be seen with you. Get your urban cowboy ass on a fucking horse and ride, bro.
Jeez. John Travolta over here.
I think we meet his Scott's mom, and Scott is like, and David, apparently, according to Scott's mom, are just best buds. She's like, look, it's Scotty's birthday, and he just needs some friends to show up. We're doing a surprise party. Help me out with that. But it's kind of like not an ask. It's almost like a demand.
I'm telling you to get 25 kids at least. Like, dude, I don't know 25 kids who know Scott.
Yeah. I know 25 kids, but I can't just call them at the drop of a hat. And also, lady, look at him. Look at your Scotty.
Come on. Like, are you not seeing this? Like a family of unaware people.
You let your son come to Beverly Hills High with a freaking John Deere outfit on, bro. This ain't it.
Rode one mechanical bull.
Yeah, it looks like he goes to West Hollywood, Steve, and I think you know what that means. But we'll just keep it there. So now David's got to figure out how to get people to go, and it's really we just cut. He's obviously asked the whole school, and everyone's like, "Who the fuck are you talking about?" Like what? Wait, you mean the kid with the fucking rodeo hat on? Hell no.
He has his old girlfriend from the 5th grade, and he's like, first of all, don't go around telling people that.
You used to date him in 5th grade. Come on.
Scott comes in while David's getting ready for his radio show or whatever, and he's telling him like, "Hey,
It's
it's my."
radio show.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like how Bayside had a radio show, but he's like, "It's my B day tomorrow. I'm going out for dinner, and if you want to stop by later, it's like, man, I'm gonna be busy that day."
Yeah, I got the order fucked up. So yeah, David's like, yeah, dude, I'm cool, dude. I actually have some plans that day, but enjoy Ponderosa with your parents. That's gonna be a blasty.
But you cut back to everybody else. They're like, "Man, for the 8th time, no, Dylan's going to be in Baja."
Dude, I got this blonde hottie ready to fucking blow me right now. I can't do this.
I think Steve says maybe next year, maybe never.
Dude, Steve's a straight fucking asshole. Like he's always a cunt
I,
in this show,
I,
but
I
this
respect it for this, knowing what I like from my experience dealing with the Scotts of the world, the ugly Jasons. Like Steve's so right. This Steve is right. I should have listened to you, Steve.
I mean, you're right about that, but there becomes a point in this episode where it goes a little over the top, but we'll get there. So eventually, I guess all the annoyance, all the badgering, at least David got through to some of the 90210 crew because we cut to the party. Everyone's inside. It's just a bunch of kids. Apparently they've taken Scotty out to dinner. This house is full of just random younger kids, which this is sad. This is not what
Yeah.
you want to see. This is like the brothers' friends.
And I think some of these are Scott's like current friends because as you see, some of them are dweebs. They're sitting there with their party hats on, playing their Konami games. You hear the little
I
like,
used to love those though. That little Ninja Turtle joint.
yeah.
Also, Larry Bird versus Michael Jordan. That was the one.
Oh, I love that, man. I feel like freshman year is the separation point. Like you kind of like 8th grade things that were cool. Well, and then there's some more separation points throughout high school, but there's
Yeah.
definitely one from middle school to high school.
Well, I mean, I'm just from the standpoint of somebody in high school, if you go to a party for them and you show up and it's just a bunch of younger kids and then just like two weirdos, the vibe's completely fucked, Steve. So,
Yeah,
even Scott's mom's now really throwing the fucking pressure. She's like, I thought where are all the kids?
we're the
David,
kids.
where are the kids?
Like, yeah, like she's so demanding.
Okay, Ghislaine, what the fuck is going on here? This is Epstein.
Yeah.
We're the fucking kids, David. I said there was going to be 25 kids here. They're going to kill us. So they're waiting. They're waiting for Scotty to show up, and they think Scotty's about to show up, but it's actually the 90210 crew, and they ruin the surprise on them. And it's like 4 of them because I think Brendan and his little hot to trot chick, whatever her name is, Ice Spice or whatever, she's out there. They come later, but they ruin the surprise. I don't. I just said that. I don't know why. But at least there's some contemporary, even older kids at this party now. It's not just a snooze fest.
Yeah, it freshens up the room, man. And like we also cut to Scott's dad real quick. He's like brandishing his gun. He's not brandishing it. He's like, cleaning it off or whatever. And he's saying to somebody, it's guns aren't toys. They're weapons and they should be treated as such.
Okay, dude. Well, this is a kid, so
Why do you have it out?
hey, you guys like this Colt 45? It's a weird vibe. And his dad is just very, I don't like his dad, Steve. Something's going on with his dad.
Yeah.
Um, something's weird's going on. Why do you have the gun anyway? But then Brandon shows up with what I'm going to call Tank Girl because I can't remember her name. And
Emily
she,
Valentine.
oh, Emily. Brandon and Emily show up and they basically do ruin the surprise. They're there and then Scott shows up and he's like, "Oh, hey guys, what's up?" And then then it's just a party. It is what it is. I think don't they try to do the surprise, Steve?
At first, they're like, "Yeah, we're just out walking the dog," and he's like, "What dog?" And then eventually
And
they
then
come.
Brandon's like, "This broad right here, dude. You know what I'm talking about?"
And I always thought she looked like a white T-Boz. Like people say that like black folks, we have like white cousins, like who
There
are
you go.
yeah, and I feel like that there we Emily Valentine and T-Boz.
I could see that. She's not. I mean, she looks great, Steve, like you said, but I don't know. I picture Brandon with more of a Kelly Kapowski, and like I said, this is a tank girl. She looks like she could throw a punch for sure, for sure.
What was the guy that always wore cut off denim like that he played on the football team at Bayside? His name like Buzz or Bull or something like that. That's who Emily. I see Emily being with her, Brandon
Yeah,
being with Kelly.
I like that. I like that for both of them. But so now the party's going, and it's just David's trying, but it's just not going well, Steve. He's trying to amp up the energy. The mom's constantly up his ass. Scotty's got this weird energy about him that nobody really wants to be near him, not even his mom, really, because she's just all over David. Because I think what really is happening here is she wants David to be her son and not Scotty.
Pretty much, man. And Scott overhears David talking about him because he's like, "Man, you think these people will be here for Scott? Like nobody could stand the dude."
His fucking breath stinks. Do you know he collects dog shit and calls them pets? Do you know that? Nobody likes this guy. And Scott's literally right behind him.
You,
Steve.
damn it, David, your peripherals are not up to par.
You could hear him breathing.
Yeah, dude, the back of your neck. Like, meanwhile, Scott's mom's being a major bitch. Oh, she didn't bring David didn't bring any friends. They ruined the surprise. He didn't even bring any presents. Like,
Bitch, do something. Be a mom. What am I supposed to do? I'm a kid here. David's like, you know what? I got it. We're gonna teach Scott how to dance. And he starts like getting everybody in the mood, getting everybody going. The older kids start kind of like grinding a little bit, which is kind of a weird vibe. But then David's like, yo, ladies, help my studly friend out and teach him how to dance, which I do like as a wingman. He's trying.
he's trying.
Also, he probably feels guilty that not 5 minutes ago, he's like, dude, like 2 weeks ago, he shit himself in school. This kid actually collects his own semen, and he won't even tell me why. I don't know, but he says it's an experiment. Whatever.
He's always complaining about these spots on his shirt that won't go away.
He's that kid that just shows up with his fucking. Hey Scott, you got a giant jizz stain on that black shirt.
What's that on your cowboy hat, Scotty? But Brandon and Emily, they have other plans. So
This is
they have
crazy. You fucking kids are crazy.
insane. Like you couldn't wait. Like
Hey, hey guys, we gotta go to the bathroom. I'd be like, hey, no. If I owned the house, I'd be like, no, not at all.
this is technically a kid's party too.
There's like 8-year-olds running around. But hey, fuck it. They go up to a room and just start getting to business. Steve start getting into a real hot and heavy makeout sesh. And what we find out is they're doing it on Scotty's brother's bed, and Scotty's mom walks in on him, and they're like, "Oh!" And I mean, they get kicked out of the kids' party for fucking finger fucking in a bed. Steve.
Yeah. And
Oh,
Scott's little brother sees this. So like as
he's
they're
into it. Scott's little brother's into it though. He's like,
I've never seen this before.
So now, the mom is already being a bitch, but she's just being a complete wet blanket. And now it's also cock blocking, Steve. I mean, what more can this woman do wrong? You
And
know?
as Steve and the rest, they're seeing Brandon leaving. It's like, man, if you're out of here, we're out of here.
Yeah, fuck this. I'm out ski.
Yeah.
Steve's trying to get laid too. He's always on the prowl. He's going to throw one at the mom until she turned him down.
Yeah, so they leave, and now it's time for cake. And they don't have a lighter, so Scott goes up to his dad's office and looks for a lighter, and he's toying around in the drawer, and he sees the gun, and he pulls his dad's gun out, and right when he does that, David comes in,
I
and
can light a candle with this, right? David's like, yo, what are you doing? And Scott, in what can only be described as the most feminine use of a firearm possible, is like, check me out. And he starts twirling it like Doc Holliday in Tombstone, Steve. I mean,
yeah,
what the fuck, dude? This isn't proper gun safety. I just like to say, Steve. I'd like to take a moment. This is not right.
this image is embedded in my head, man. Like the dude twirls the gun and the shit just goes off, man. David's like, no! And that was his Ricky moment. Ricky!
And then you just hear heartbeats, Steve. And we don't know what happened immediately. We just know the gun went off. But cut to the next day, Steve. Scott's dead. Okay,
And I miss my Uncle Charles, y'all.
he's gone. And David saw the whole fucking thing. He was right there. I mean, like what? I would just not go to. I'd be like, I need full like A's the rest of the year. I just saw my boy just straight shoot
Off
himself in the
himself.
guts.
Like, friend or not, like, I just saw that. Like, I think David is 15 at the time. So,
And he was being shitty as hell to this guy that just he now is in the ground. So that can't feel great. We cut to the memorial, and no one knew this guy. And this is what we were talking about at the beginning. No one knew this dude. No one cared about this guy. But there's a bunch of people at this funeral. Brenda is like, can't believe we were dancing with him a couple days ago, and now he's gone. Everyone's
and,
very contemplative, Steve.
and Dylan's just like, I don't want to be a jerk, but I don't know who this Scott guy is. He was the guy in your tech class last year. Oh my God, that guy?
Oh shit, that's not gnarly at all. Um, and then and then that girl that dated Scott in the fifth grade shows up, and she's like, I just stopped. We just cut off communication in sixth grade, and after that, I just could, once the cowboy hat came on, I just disavowed all knowledge, and I feel terrible. And Donna's the rock in this episode, Steve. She's the one that's like, "Are you okay?"
Shout out to Donna.
Donna is actually she's a real mention this episode. She's usually the fucking one. Her and Steve are like the tag team fucking champions of assholeness in the show. But yeah, she's doing some due diligence in this one. And I think it's mostly because she's got a thing for David. You know.
Yeah, that becomes a thing, man. And another thing is Andrea's thing for Brandon. She's deep in her feels bag because she sees Brandon is just like distracted. He's just head over heels for his Emily boo.
Yeah, every time she looks over, they're staring at each other, and she's like, God, I miss that cock, you fucking bitch. She just you can tell there's some fucking tension there, but she's turning her sexual tension slash sadness into just an aggressiveness of going at this story
This cover
about
story for
yeah
Scott.
she's running the paper, and she's running this thing like the fucking New York Times at this point, where dead kid, she's like, we need all the coverage. I want interviews. I want to talk about gun control. And Brandon's like, I don't know if we should use this as like a platform for that as much as we should probably just be paying tribute to Scott, you know? And Andrew's just a tenacious journalist, Steve.
Like an attorney after a car crash.
She's the Marcia Clark of Beverly Hills High.
And David's at the funeral and he tells Donna he had a dream that he was at Pearl Harbor.
He was at Pearl Harbor the night it got bombed. He was digging a hole for a time capsule that they briefly mentioned a time capsule at the beginning of the episode. So they're digging a hole for that in the 40s. But
That's
when they
what.
dig that hole, he hits a fucking casket, Steve. And when he opens it up, you think it's going to be fucking Scotty. That's what he thought. But it was him. It's like Empire Strikes Back, dude. It's when like Luke fucking goes into that cave. It was him the whole fucking time, bro.
And as he's saying that, Scott's mom pops up again, and she's ready to introduce David. You might be onto something. Maybe she did want him as a substitute son because she's just trying to welcome him in and like introduce him to the rest of the family. You know David, don't you? He's best friends with Scott. Oh, they've been friends for their whole life.
They're the bestest of friends. And now he's my best friend too. And David's like, okay, great. So this woman's now taking her sadness and transferring that over to David and putting all this pressure on him to basically be around this tragedy and like insert himself as a best friend to this guy who he's like, dude, I didn't like. He even tells Donna when they're like, he talks about that dream. He's like, like she's asking me to speak at this fucking funeral. I don't know anything about this guy. We haven't hung out in like fucking 5 years. I dropped him as soon as he said fucking Reeboks were better than Nikes, and I had to stop at that point.
Then he added the cowboy hat to boot. Ugh. And
Yeah.
then we cut to Brandon. He's talking to Dylan about how man, I should have died at least 3 times. Hey, man, it must be somebody up there that wants to keep me around.
And then Dylan's like, but wait, Broseph, are you saying that Scotty had somebody upstairs that didn't like him and that's why he died? Doesn't make much sense to me. Doesn't seem tasty like a wave. He's very like surfer Buddha in this episode. He just shows up and is like, hey man, it's just about living your life, you know. He's very much got that beach lifestyle vibe to him, which he
I'm gonna
does. I mean, that's what he is, Steve.
Yeah, I can't go to the party. I'm be at Baja catching some tasty waves.
I'm shooting the curl and then I'm gonna go get some fucking gnarly fish tacos afterwards, if you know what I'm talking about.
Hang 10, broseph.
And that was at the Walshes because you know Dylan's in and out there. Him and Brenda, they're fucking hooking up. So he got his, and then
Are
he's
they
on.
gone yet?
Yeah, he's on his way out. Everybody's kind of dealing with this. So then we cut to school, and David's finally back. Maybe a little too early, and
Took
he's
like 2
trying.
days off.
Yeah, you know, fuck it. It's a weekend thing. You know, he'll get over it. But he's trying to act like everything's cool. He's playing it off. We all do this. You know, you're like, I'm good, dude. I'm fine, dude. And then inside, you're like, oh my fucking God. Because everyone's like, dude, are you okay? I hate this. I straight up hate this too. I get it. But, you know, he's not taking it well. And then this is where I say Steve goes from maybe right and righteous person to a complete fucking psychopath because he's like, hey, David, know everything. I don't know this has been tough, but like, did you see the gun go off? Was there a lot of blood, dude? And it's like, dude, what the fuck, dude?
Were his guts on the floor?
Did you hear that like sound that people make whenever they die? Did you see his soul? Did you see? He's like, dude, I don't know, guy. But
Did he turn purple?
he's got. I think he's gonna go. You know, this is like a choke jerk type of thing. He's getting into some weird shit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, Steve?
Did you record it? Can I see it?
Yeah.
like doing on Boogie Nights. Can I see it?
Tell me about it. I can't, man. Maybe you should get some new shit, huh? And on top of this, you know, again, like this guy just saw a dude straight up not off himself, because we kind of get more details about it, but he saw a guy shoot himself that led to his death. So Steve's asking very psychotic questions, kind of over the line questions. And then Brandon's fucking being goddamn Walter Cronkite. He's like, look, dude, need an interview. It's like, dude, this ain't the fucking LA Times, dude. Like, this is
Yeah.
just talk about the volleyball game. You know, show his picture and say in remembrance. Like, I'm not gonna tell you about this shit, but David's it's tough, you know.
We need those pics, David. Pics of you at Scott.
You said you were going to edit the video the night that that kid shot himself. Where is it at? Sorry, dude. He even apologizes for that shit. It's like, okay. But then Donna, the fucking Mother Teresa over here of this episode, she comes up and she's like, hey, man, how are you doing? He's like, just shut up, bitch.
You're
Like,
like the 19th person.
David's using her as like his mental punching bag, Steve. He's like, anytime Donna comes up, he's like, man, fuck up, shut up, bye, Felicia.
But you know what, Matt? Donna wins so many cool points because she is being a Mother Teresa throughout this episode. Despite the jabs that he's throwing her way, man, she's just like, you know what? I'm still here for you.
Yep, I'll be
She,
back. I'll come back and check on you again. I know this is just temporary. You're dealing with some shit. You're right. This is the first episode I've watched of the show where I actually think she's a good person, Steve. Shout out
she,
Donna.
she likes you, bro. She like you.
Yeah, dude, she's down as fuck. And later at the school, Andrea and Brandon are going over the story that they're writing, you know, in this paper. And Brandon just can't stop focusing on his little tasty minx. Emily, did I remember her name? Is that right?
Emily Valentine, EV.
Yes. Evie's over there looking kind of hot, I guess, with that short haircut. But you know what?
Yeah,
And
child,
Haish was hot. So I guess it works, Steve.
yeah, child's play too, man.
But you know, so there's that sexual tension between Andrea and Brandon still going on, and then because all Brandon can do right at this moment, and we've all been here. This is like the early stages where you just can't stop just making out and stuff. We cut to the Walshes. Brandon and Emily are on the couch with Brenda. They're watching MTV or whatever. But then it starts getting a little hot over on the one side of the couch, and Brenda's like, "Hey guys, I'm gonna go because I don't want to see my brother pre-nut in his pants anymore. So bye." And then they just get to it, Steve. They turn the music up, and it's just. Uh, uh.
There's at least one thing I want to do before I die.
This chick is. This is the one, Steve. This is what for a high school kid. This is where you get some stripes. You know, this is it. He's gonna put in. So he's gonna learn something.
Well, he will learn in the next episode that Emily's not the one. Actually, spoiler alert:
She's not the one girl. She's not the one girl.
this overbearing mom pops up at the school again. Like, don't you have other concerns?
I mean, right after David's talking to getting dropped off from his dad, and his dad's like, "Look, man, like I'm just want to be sure you're cool." And David's like, "Honestly, dude, I'm actually starting to feel like normal again. I think."
Yeah.
Kind of feeling like the depression's lifting. And as soon as he gets out of the car and starts walking, Scott's mom's like, "Oh, David, thank God. Hey, can you help me clean the blood stains off the carpet that from when David died? Because you were his bestest friend, so you're the only person I can ask to do this." And he's like, "Well, okay, I want to kill myself again. That's it. Fuck it."
It's Scotty has some things I know he wanted you to have.
Hey, Depression. Nice to see you. That's what she should be called. Hey, Miss Depression. Thanks for rearing your fucking bitch ass head again. So, yeah. So now he's got that hanging over his head. After school, he's got to go over to some dead kid's house and talk about his toys with his freaked out mom. That's great.
And we cut back to Andrea, and she's just frustrated with Brandon. And Brandon asks, like, are you mad because I didn't go to the movies with you on Sunday? Like, I told you I had other stuff to do.
She's
She
like, "I
breaks
know what you had to do. You had something to fucking put your fucking hand." Like, she's basically tells him the truth, Steve. Not that harshly, but she's like, "You know what? I have to just stand there, and I know it's new, and I need to be cool with this, but it's just tough. It's
it
tough."
it hurts, okay?
And he's like, "Look, I'm just not into mature looking women like you, okay? I
Yeah,
need someone that doesn't look like my mother." And
or
that's
my
just it.
teacher.
And she's willing to do a lot of stuff that, let's be frank, you don't even know about yet. Have you ever had a ZJ? Me neither till last night. Thank you. So then we cut to Scott's house. David's with the mom, and she's just like, "Here, take this picture." Oh, and oh, this is it. This is the picture. I knew I was looking for this. David's just like trying to be polite, and like inside is like, "I don't fucking get, I don't, I'm gonna burn these fucking things. What do you want me to do with this?" You know? But
He
she just won't stop, Steve.
he even tells her, like, "I don't want more of Scott's things." She's like, "Well, what about these Transformers? We played with those when we were 11."
You're his bestest friend. And he's like, "Look, bitch." I mean, he gets straight to it with her because he's like, "Look, this isn't right. We weren't friends." And like, Scott's fucked up because he's the one that was fucking around with a pistol and shot himself in the guts and died. And and so the mom's like floored. And at this point, I'm sitting to myself thinking, David, maybe you just take the Transformers and just call it a day instead of unloading like that, because this is a grieving mother. But she's being a crazy, fucking overbearing piece of business, Steve.
She was crazy when the boy was alive. And David has just snapped, man. We back at school, he snaps on Donna, and he's just like, "Look, man, I've had it up to here with people asking me how I'm doing." And Donna, she's just like, "Look, man, hold it. Who was there for you when no one else was? Like, who gave you a shot when the rest of the crew didn't want to even fuck with you? Who?
Don't
Who?"
say shot, bitch. Yeah, I like how, but dude, David's a straight asshole to her because she's like, "Hey," because he's editing. He's got like a whole editing suite here to work with. He's working on this video. She walks in, is like, "Hey, David, how you doing?" He's like, "Oh, how does it look like I'm doing? What do you think I'm doing here, bitch?" And she's like, "I wanted to give you this whatchamacallit. Bye." He just gets back to editing. He's going through the footage, and he actually finds the segment that Scotty alluded to in the beginning of this episode where they were doing like the man on the street thing. And they're talking about the time capsule. They're talking about 1941. And Scotty's like, David asks him, like, where would you have been in 1941, Scotty? And Scotty's like, "I'd be in Vietnam, in Da Nang, in the shit." And David's like, "Dude, that is the wrong ass time." And they kind of get into like a friendly back and forth. But watching it, you can tell like, they're not hanging out, but they're still buddies because they're like razzing each other and stuff, but they're
Yeah.
laughing and having a good time. So David starts to see that, and it gets to him. It kind of gets through to him a little bit. He feels even worse than he did, I feel like, you know.
And as he's watching it, Brandon comes in. He continues to grill David about whatever he needs for this coverage. And while the
That's
mic is on, David just goes off and he's like, "Man, you know what? He was a jerk that blew himself away. You weren't there. You left. You didn't see him twirling his gun around like Wyatt Earp. I left him because he wasn't cool like you or Kelly or Steve."
Yeah, and nobody will leave me alone. Everybody's putting all. He goes off, and everybody in the school like hears his. I mean, it's not a rant or anything. It's just real shit. They hear it, and
Yeah.
everyone's like, "Oh shit!" and realizes like what the fuck is going on for real because David's spitting some truth.
He definitely had
Legendary.
a mic drop moment, man, because Brandon tells him, like, "Man, the mic is on." He's like, "Dude, I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter what you say about people after they die. It's about what you say to them and how you treat them while they're here. And you can quote me on that."
That's what it was, and that's some real ass shit, dude. I can speak on that from a real ass perspective this weekend for sure. But yeah, and everyone in the school is like, "Holy shit!" And then they like walk out, and he just kind of has like this. I mean, it's gotta feel pretty good because the whole school's like they're like, "Yo," he doesn't get like an applause, but it's like everybody's basically like doing that, and he's surrounded by people like, "Oh shit, dude! Like, are you okay?"
You got the juice now.
Yeah, it literally is that. I mean, if they were on a rooftop, hell yeah.
And Dylan, the Californian Buddhist, he says, "Next time someone asks you how you're doing, David, just tell them how you feel."
Do it, man. Be honest, bro. Cephos.
I'm like Socrates and shit.
Yeah. Later, David shows up after all this. We cut to like the outside of Scotty's house, and David shows up with a tape that he promised Scotty's mom that he was going to get to her, which I'm assuming is like stuff, like footage of her son. He's like, I know you might not want to watch this now, but like I'm pretty sure that when you do want to watch you're going to be happy you have this because it's, I'm really, and he does apologize. He's like, I'm truly sorry for this, and I think they just kind of settle it. And the mom is very much cool now. She's not the overbearing, crazy woman. And maybe it's because she's sort of dealing with her problems, Steve.
Yeah. Those prescriptions work. And the episode ends with them putting together that time capsule.
Yep. And now it's the Scott Scanlon Memorial Time Capsule, Steve. So they've got all the stuff, the normal stuff you put in a time capsule. Now it's time for the personal stuff. First on the list is a hard copy and a floppy disk copy of the memorial article that Andrea wrote in Scott's memory. So that can be kept for all time until you can't use a floppy disk, which is 2024. Sorry, guys. And then everybody else starts adding stuff. Steve, as a douche, throws in a Corvette keychain because, of course, he has that. What a douchey thing. Dylan throws in a little bit of surfboard wax, bro, because it's nothing tastier than a wave, bro. He says something. What does he say? Fuck. He
Yeah, I
says
didn't.
something fucking douchey as hell. Yeah, but of course he throws surfboard wax in a fucking time capsule,
Surfboard
dude.
wax.
And then David, he adds, what could he add that would be powerful? He adds a fucking that cowboy hat, Steve. Pew pew, pew
Yeah.
pew.
In the ground where it belongs.
And then now there's only one thing left to honor this kid's memories, Steve. Some sparklers.
Yeah.
This one's for you, Scott.
Very touching. And George Carlin has a very great bit about like modern day cowboy hat wearers. Oh man, I think it was from like his early 90s bits, man. But actor who played Scott, Douglas Emerson, this was his final acting performance, man, or appearance. He was a child actor. He was in an episode of Mr. Belvedere. Do you remember Small Wonder with
Yeah, hell yeah.
the little robot Vicky? Yeah, he was on an episode of that. But yeah, after this, he was like, "Yeah, it's a wrap, man. Scott died, and so did my acting career."
That bullet killed more than just the character Scott, Steve.
Tonight, the gang at West Beverly lose one of their own.
A kid that wears a cowboy hat and leers in the background that you've never seen.